one of them, this refers to something you said very early on, and there was a rather famous email at the end of 2023 from Canon Press talking about Doug Wilson's family, and he has never had an apostate in I don't know how many generations. Which
it's like 4 or 5,
right,
yeah.
And B,
the secret sauce or something,
secret sauce. So there is this promise, and like you said, it's not just like, well, this might happen. They don't, as far as I know, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I know, there's no like, there might be some, but there's very little tempering expectations and saying like, hey, we're giving you good principles. These might work. These might not. It's
just my opinion. Yeah.
Just
there's
my
very little disclaimers.
Like, kind of like how we understand the Proverbs. Like the Proverbs can sometimes sound very, not frustrating, but like almost black and white. And so like you said, you understand the narrative structure, the poetic structure of it, and what it's doing, what it's trying to do. But some of these resources just straight up say, like, your kid will be a Christian and will experience all sorts of blessings in their life. What do they do when it doesn't happen? It's like, hey, this is like, we straight up promised you 30 years down the road, your kid is not a Christian, hates his or her life. Did the parents just say like, well, we screwed up or they screwed? Like, how does that even work for some of these things?
Well, and it's a good question because these are very short-term focused resources. I think the person picking them up does not envision down the road beyond hoping that promise is right. I think you see a number of different things. Doug Wilson has directly said, "Oh yeah, the parents who did it wrong should be ashamed."
He makes no bones about it. He very much.
He says you should not reach out with compassion and empathy to parents whose children have walked away. And he has mentioned how his father had said if any of his kids left the faith, he would step down from ministry, and he has said the same. So there's some versions of this where there's incredible pressure on children to conform, which tracks with all the framework that has used coercion to get compliance. And so I think you will have, those corners of the Christian parenting resource library would say, it's parental fault, it's user error. Other corners, there are a few resources. There was one, Kelsey read it. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called The Hurting Parent. There are a few that name like, sometimes this doesn't work out and we don't really know why. Sometimes there is hidden in there a blaming of the child, right? Because if
hard-hearted, there's nothing you can do about it.
Prodigal, something like that. Because if the resources are based on God's word, well, then they can't be questioned.
Exactly.
So it's user error. It's either the parent applied them incorrectly, or there's something uniquely wrong with you or your child that they didn't work. So there's a lot of shame and isolation, I think, for people who discover that they don't work, which we hope that our work will help free some people from that shame and isolation, because I think having read so many of these resources, in a number of ways, they are recipes for impaired relationship and inauthentic connection. Like, that is the fruit of forced compliance year after year, of detachment in your parenting and things like that. It does bear that kind of fruit. But I think usually people are blamed. Sometimes God is blamed. I mean, I think sometimes these things are so wrapped up with ideas about God that people will say, I don't want anything to do with God. Like, that didn't work and that was abusive and that's him. So sometimes, but I think most commonly it's the parents or the children who are blamed.